Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. How are you today? Today I am here with Honey and today we are going to talk about healthy eating.
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here today. Let's start our conversation.
Honey, I have been looking forward to this conversation because healthy eating is something almost everyone talks about these days. We see videos about it, we read articles about it, and our friends always seem to have different opinions. Some people say you should never eat sugar, while others say you can eat anything if you don't eat too much. So, I thought it would be fun for us to just sit here, talk like friends, and share our own experiences.
I like that idea because I don't think people enjoy listening to someone giving a long lecture. It is much more interesting when two friends simply talk about their daily lives. I also think healthy eating is different for every person. We all have different schedules, different jobs, and different favorite foods. So today, let's keep everything simple and honest.
Exactly. There's no pressure here. We're not trying to be perfect, we're just sharing what works for us, and maybe giving everyone a few ideas they can try in their own lives. By the way, how has your day been so far?
It has been a nice day. I woke up a little earlier than usual because I wanted a slow morning. I opened the window, enjoyed the fresh air, made myself a simple breakfast, and spent a little time reading before we started recording. It was peaceful, and I think mornings like that make the whole day feel better.
That sounds like a perfect morning. Mine was a little different. I woke up just before my alarm, and for a few minutes I stayed in bed thinking about whether I should get up or sleep a little longer. I think everyone has that little conversation with themselves every morning.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes my alarm rings and I immediately tell myself, just 5 more minutes. The funny thing is that 5 minutes almost always become 15 or 20 minutes.
That is so true. Those extra 5 minutes disappear very quickly. Luckily, today I finally got out of bed, made breakfast, and started thinking about our topic. It made me realize that healthy eating actually starts with small daily choices, not big changes.
I agree. Many people think healthy eating means changing everything overnight, but I don't believe that. If someone drinks soft drinks every day, maybe they can start by drinking one extra glass of water. If someone eats fast food many times a week, maybe they can cook one meal at home. Small changes are much easier to keep.
I like that way of thinking because sometimes people become excited for 1 week, eat only salads, avoid every snack, and then suddenly they give up because it feels too difficult.
Exactly. I have seen that happen many times. People become very strict with themselves, and after a few days, they feel tired of following so many rules. Then they stop completely. I think balance is much more realistic than perfection.
I couldn't agree more. Speaking of balance, I have to ask you something. If someone opened your refrigerator right now, what healthy food would they find inside?
Let me think. They would definitely find eggs, yogurt, apples, bananas, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, milk, and a few bottles of cold water. I also like keeping some nuts because they're easy to eat when I feel a little hungry during the day.
That sounds much healthier than my refrigerator. Mine has some fruit too, but if I'm being honest, there's also leftover pizza from yesterday waiting for me.
I think many people listening have leftover pizza in their refrigerator too. There's nothing wrong with enjoying pizza sometimes. The important thing is not eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day.
That's a very good point. I actually enjoy healthy food, but sometimes convenience wins. After a long day, ordering food feels much easier than cooking.
I completely understand. After work, everyone feels tired sometimes, but I noticed something interesting. On the days when I cook at home, I actually enjoy the meal more because I made it myself. Even if it's a simple meal, it feels special.
I know that feeling. There's something satisfying about preparing your own meal. Even making a simple sandwich feels different when you choose all the ingredients yourself.
Yes, and cooking doesn't always have to take a long time. People often think healthy meals need 1 hour in the kitchen, but many simple meals are ready in 15 or 20 minutes.
That reminds me of my first time trying to cook by myself. I watched a small cooking video online. It looked so easy. The person smiled, cut a few vegetables, mixed everything together, and the meal was ready in 10 minutes. I thought, I can do that.
Let me guess, it did not go as planned.
Not even close. First, I couldn't find half the ingredients. Then, I accidentally added too much salt. After that, I burned the bread because I was reading the recipe while cooking. My kitchen looked like a storm had passed through it.
I can imagine that so clearly. The funny thing is that cooking videos always make everything look simple. They never show the small mistakes or the messy kitchen behind the camera.
Exactly. At one point, I looked around my kitchen and wondered how I had used almost every plate, bowl, and spoon just to make one meal.
That happens to me sometimes too. I start with one clean pan and somehow 30 minutes later, the sink is completely full. I still don't know how that happens, but I think it's part of learning to cook.
I think you're right. The good thing is that every time we cook, we learn something new. Maybe the first meal is not perfect and maybe the kitchen becomes a little messy, but after a while, everything becomes easier. Now I can make a few simple meals without looking at a recipe, and that feels really nice.
That is exactly how I learned too. At first, I was nervous because I thought I would make mistakes. Then one day I realized that everyone makes mistakes in the kitchen. Even people who cook every day sometimes burn the food or forget an ingredient. It is completely normal.
You know, I also noticed something interesting. When I cook at home, I eat more slowly, but when I order fast food, I finish my meal so quickly that I sometimes don't even remember enjoying it.
I know what you mean. When we cook, we spend time preparing the food, so we naturally appreciate it more. We sit down, relax, and enjoy each bite. But fast food often feels rushed. We eat while watching TV or looking at our phones, and before we know it, the meal is finished.
That is so true. Sometimes I look at my empty plate and think, wait, did I already finish? It happens much faster than I expect.
Yes. And then 30 minutes later, we suddenly want another snack because we didn't really enjoy the first meal.
Exactly. That used to happen to me a lot. I would finish a big meal and then start looking for chips or cookies. Now I try to drink a glass of water first and wait a few minutes. Most of the time, I realize I wasn't really hungry.
I do the same thing. Sometimes our body is asking for water, but we think we need food. Drinking water first is such a simple habit, but it really helps me.
Speaking of water, I have a funny question for you. Are you someone who remembers to drink water during the day, or do you suddenly realize in the evening that you forgot?
A few years ago, I always forgot. I would be working for hours, and then I would suddenly think, oh no, I haven't had any water today. Now I keep a bottle of water on my desk, so every time I see it, I take a few sips without even thinking about it.
That is actually a great idea. I started doing something similar. I bought a large water bottle because I was too lazy to keep walking back to the kitchen every hour. Now the bottle stays next to me all day.
Sometimes the simplest ideas work the best. We don't always need complicated plans. A bottle of water on the desk can make a big difference.
I completely agree. You know what else changed my eating habits? Grocery shopping.
Really, tell me more.
I learned one important lesson. Never go grocery shopping when you are very hungry.
Oh, that is excellent advice. I have done that before, and it's dangerous.
It really is. I go to the supermarket planning to buy vegetables, fruit, eggs, and milk. Then I walk past the bakery, smell fresh bread, see chocolate, cookies, ice cream, and suddenly my shopping cart looks completely different.
That happens to me too. I always tell myself I'm only buying what is on my list. Then I come home with snacks I never planned to buy. Sometimes I even forget one of the important things that was actually on the list.
Exactly. I remember one time I bought ice cream, potato chips, cookies, juice, and frozen pizza. When I got home, I realized I'd forgotten the milk that I originally went to buy.
That sounds like something I would do. It's amazing how our brain works when we're hungry.
Now, I always eat something small before shopping. Even a banana or a sandwich helps me make better choices.
That's a really smart habit. I also like making a shopping list before I leave home. It saves time, and I don't walk around the supermarket wondering what I need.
I started making lists too, and it's surprising how much money I save. Before that, I often bought things just because they looked delicious.
The supermarket is very good at making everything look delicious. Bright colors, fresh smells, beautiful pictures on the packages. Everything makes you want to buy more.
That's true. Sometimes I think the cookies are calling my name when I walk past them.
Nano, come here. We're on sale today.
Exactly, and somehow they always know the right words to convince me.
I think everyone listening has had that experience at least once.
Probably. But I also don't think we should stop eating our favorite snacks forever. Life would be a little boring if we never enjoyed chocolate, cake, or ice cream again.
I completely agree. Healthy eating is not about saying never. It's about saying not all the time. If we enjoy a piece of cake at a birthday party, that's completely normal.
That's why I don't like the idea of calling food good or bad. I prefer thinking about balance. Most of the time, I eat healthy meals, and sometimes I enjoy a dessert without feeling guilty.
I like that way of thinking too. When people feel guilty about eating one cookie, they often become stressed. Food should not make us feel afraid. It should help us enjoy life while taking care of our bodies.
That's a really nice way to say it. I also notice that when I tell myself I can never eat something again, I actually want it even more.
The same thing happens to me. But when I tell myself, you can have it another day, I stop thinking about it so much. It feels much easier.
It really is interesting how our minds work.
Yes, and I think being kind to ourselves is also an important part of healthy eating. Some days we make great choices and some days we don't. That doesn't mean we have failed. Tomorrow is another chance to make a healthy choice.
I really like that way of thinking because sometimes people believe one unhealthy meal ruins everything. But that is not true. If I eat a burger today, it doesn't mean I have to keep eating unhealthy food for the rest of the week. I can simply enjoy it, move on, and make a better choice at my next meal.
Exactly. I think many people are too hard on themselves. They say, I already ate something unhealthy today, so I might as well eat more. But one meal does not decide your whole lifestyle. It is what you do most of the time that really matters.
That's a great point. I remember last month I went to a family dinner. There was so much delicious food on the table. There was grilled chicken, rice, fresh salad, homemade bread, and of course, desserts. I wanted to try a little bit of everything.
Family dinners are always like that. Someone is always saying, come on, have one more piece, or you haven't tried this yet. It is almost impossible to leave the table without eating a little extra.
That is exactly what happened. Every 5 minutes, someone was putting more food on my plate. I kept saying, I'm full, but nobody believed me.
I think every family has at least one person like that. They show love through food. They want everyone to eat well, and they feel happy when people enjoy their cooking.
You're right. And honestly, the food was amazing, so I couldn't say no for very long.
Sometimes those moments are more important than counting every calorie. Spending time with family, laughing together, and sharing a meal creates beautiful memories.
I couldn't agree more. Healthy eating is important, but enjoying life is important too.
Absolutely. I think the happiest people usually find a good balance. They eat healthy most of the time, but they also celebrate special moments without worrying too much.
Speaking of special moments, do you have one healthy meal that you never get tired of eating?
Yes, I do. I love grilled chicken with rice and a fresh salad. It is simple, colorful, and filling. I don't need anything fancy. Sometimes I add a little lemon juice or black pepper, and it tastes even better.
That sounds delicious. Mine is a vegetable omelet. I usually add tomatoes, onions, spinach, and a little cheese. It only takes a few minutes to make, but it keeps me full for a long time.
I like omelets too because you can change the ingredients every time. If you have mushrooms, you add mushrooms. If you have peppers, you add peppers. It's a very flexible meal.
Exactly. And it's a good way to use vegetables that are already in the refrigerator.
That's true. Nothing goes to waste.
You know what surprised me? A few years ago, I thought healthy food would always be expensive. But after I started cooking more often, I realized I was actually spending less money than before.
The same thing happened to me. When I ordered food several times a week, I spent much more money. Now I buy simple ingredients, cook at home, and my monthly food budget is much lower.
It also feels nice knowing exactly what goes into your meal.
Yes, because you choose everything yourself. You decide how much salt to use, how much oil to use, and what fresh ingredients to add.
Sometimes I think people imagine healthy food is always salads.
Yes, that is one of the biggest misunderstandings.
I enjoy salads, but I don't want to eat only salad every day.
Neither do I. Healthy eating can include rice, potatoes, eggs, fish, chicken, vegetables, fruit, beans, yogurt, and many other foods. There are so many choices.
Exactly. The variety makes it interesting.
Otherwise, we'd all get bored after 1 week.
That is definitely true. If I had to eat exactly the same meal every day, I think I would give up very quickly.
Me too. I enjoy trying different foods. One day I cook chicken, another day I make pasta, another day I prepare soup. Changing meals keeps everything exciting.
I have another question for you. When you feel stressed, do you eat more or less?
That is an interesting question. For me, it depends. Sometimes I completely forget about food because I'm busy. Other times I suddenly want something sweet like chocolate or cookies.
I can relate to that. When I have a stressful day, I often start opening the kitchen cabinets just to look for snacks.
Even when you're not really hungry?
Exactly. Sometimes I realize I'm not hungry at all. I'm just tired or stressed.
I think many people do that. Food can become a comfort when we have a difficult day.
Now, when I notice that feeling, I try something different first. Sometimes I go for a short walk, listen to music, or make a cup of tea. After 10 or 15 minutes, I often realize I don't actually need a snack.
That is a really good habit. We don't always need food to feel better. Sometimes we just need a short break.
Yes, and taking a break also helps me think more clearly.
I completely agree. Our minds and our bodies both need rest sometimes.
One thing I love about healthy eating is how much energy it gives me. I don't notice it after one meal, but after eating well for several days, I wake up feeling much more active.
I've noticed the same thing. My energy stays more stable throughout the day. I don't feel as sleepy in the afternoon, and I can focus better on my work. That is probably my favorite benefit of eating healthier.
I noticed something similar a few months ago. I wasn't trying to follow a special diet or anything like that. I simply started eating breakfast more regularly, drinking more water, and cooking at home a little more often. After 2 or 3 weeks, I realized I felt better without even thinking about it.
I think that is the best kind of change because it happens naturally. Sometimes people expect a big difference after one day, but our bodies need a little time. Small habits may seem unimportant at first, but after a few weeks, they can make a big difference.
That's true. And I also stopped skipping breakfast. I used to think, I'm not hungry right now. I'll eat later. But later usually became lunchtime, and by then I was so hungry that I ate much more than I needed.
That used to happen to me too. When I skipped breakfast, I felt okay for a while, but around noon, I became so hungry that everything looked delicious. I wanted pizza, burgers, fries, sandwiches, basically everything.
Exactly. When you're very hungry, even the food advertisements suddenly look amazing.
They really do. I think being too hungry makes it much harder to make healthy choices.
Now, my breakfast is usually very simple. Sometimes I have eggs and toast, other days I eat yogurt with fruit. If I'm in a hurry, I just eat a banana and drink a glass of milk. It doesn't have to be perfect.
I like simple breakfasts too. I don't enjoy spending an hour cooking first thing in the morning. I just want something easy that gives me energy to start the day.
By the way, are you someone who likes eating breakfast quietly, or do you like watching something while you eat?
That's an interesting question. Most mornings, I enjoy sitting quietly with my tea. It helps me wake up slowly. If I immediately start checking my phone or watching videos, I feel like my day becomes busy too quickly.
I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes the first thing I do is pick up my phone, and before I know it, 30 minutes are gone. I haven't even finished breakfast.
That happens to so many people. Social media is great, but sometimes it steals more time than we realize.
So now I try to finish breakfast first, then I check my messages. It makes my morning feel much calmer.
I think that is a healthy habit too.
Healthy living is not only about food, it is also about taking care of our mind and creating a peaceful start to the day.
That's a really good point. We often focus only on what we eat, but our daily routine is important too.
Exactly. Sleeping well, drinking enough water, moving our bodies, and taking short breaks all work together. Healthy eating is just one part of a healthy lifestyle.
Speaking of moving our bodies, I have to admit something.
Oh, this sounds interesting already.
I am not the kind of person who loves going to the gym every day.
Thank you for being honest. Neither am I.
Really? I thought you were going to tell me you wake up at 5 in the morning and exercise for 2 hours.
Not at all. I enjoy walking much more than going to the gym. A nice walk outside helps me relax, and it doesn't feel like hard work.
I feel exactly the same. Sometimes people think exercise has to be difficult, but even a 30-minute walk can make me feel much better.
Yes, and walking is something almost everyone can do. You don't need expensive equipment. You can simply put on your shoes and go outside.
I also like listening to music or podcasts while I walk. It makes the time pass very quickly.
I usually walk with a friend when I can. We talk, laugh, and before we know it, we've been walking for almost an hour.
That's probably one of the easiest ways to stay active. You're spending time with someone you enjoy, and at the same time, you're doing something good for your body.
Exactly. Healthy habits don't always have to feel difficult. Sometimes they can actually be fun.
You know what? I think many people believe they have to change everything at once. They say, starting tomorrow, I'm going to eat perfectly, exercise every day, wake up early, and never eat sweets again.
Yes, and after 3 or 4 days, they feel exhausted because they tried to change their whole life in 1 week.
That's why I prefer making one small change at a time. Once that habit becomes easy, I add another one.
I think that is much more realistic. Success is not about doing everything perfectly, it's about doing small things consistently.
That's a sentence I really like.
Me too. It reminds us that we don't need to be perfect to make progress.
By the way, we'd love to hear from everyone listening. What is one healthy habit that you already have? Maybe you drink plenty of water, maybe you enjoy cooking at home, or maybe you go for a walk every evening. Share your answer in the comments because it's always interesting to learn from each other.
Yes, and if you're just starting your healthy eating journey, don't worry about making everything perfect. Start with one small habit this week. We'd love to know what you choose, so tell us in the comments. It might even inspire someone else to begin too.
I really like reading people's stories because everyone has a different journey. Sometimes a very small idea from someone else can completely change the way we think. I remember reading a comment where someone said they started drinking 1 extra glass of water every morning. It sounded so simple, but after I tried it, I realized it was actually a great habit.
I love those simple ideas too. We often think we need a complicated plan, but sometimes one small habit is enough to start moving in the right direction. When we begin with something easy, we are more likely to continue doing it.
That's true. I think the hardest part is just getting started. Once a habit becomes part of your daily routine, you don't have to think about it anymore. It feels completely natural.
Exactly. It's just like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning and ask yourself, should I brush my teeth today? You simply do it because it has become a habit. Healthy eating can become like that too.
I never thought about it that way, but you're right. Habits make life much easier because we don't have to make the same decision over and over again.
Yes, and good habits also reduce stress. If you already know what you're going to eat for lunch or dinner, you don't spend half the day wondering what to order.
Oh, that's something I started doing recently. Every Sunday evening, I think about what I want to cook during the week. I don't make a strict plan, but I buy the ingredients I know I'll need.
That is a great idea. It saves time, reduces waste, and makes healthy choices much easier. When healthy food is already in your kitchen, you're more likely to cook instead of ordering takeout.
Exactly. And I noticed something funny. If I buy apples, bananas, and oranges, I usually eat them because they're right in front of me. But if I don't buy them, I obviously can't eat them.
That sounds very simple, but it's absolutely true. We usually eat what is easy to reach. That's why I keep fruit on my kitchen table instead of hiding it inside a cupboard.
That's actually a smart idea. When I see fruit, I often grab an apple without even thinking. But if there are cookies on the table instead, well, I know what happens.
I think we all know what happens.
Another thing that has helped me is learning not to compare myself with other people. Sometimes I see someone online who cooks beautiful meals every day and exercises twice a day. Then I remind myself that everyone has a different lifestyle.
I'm glad you said that because comparison can make people feel discouraged. We don't need to copy someone else's life. We only need to become a little better than we were yesterday.
I completely agree. Progress is different for everyone. Maybe one person starts eating more vegetables, another person starts drinking more water, someone else learns to cook for the first time. Every small step counts.
Exactly. We should celebrate those small victories because they help us build confidence. When we feel proud of ourselves, we're more motivated to keep going.
You know, after today's conversation, I realized healthy eating is much less complicated than I used to think. It's really about making simple choices again and again.
I feel the same way. We don't need to chase perfection. We just need to take care of ourselves one meal, one day, and one habit at a time.
Before we finish, I have one last question for you. If you could give only one piece of advice to someone who wants to start eating healthier, what would it be?
I would tell them not to rush. Choose one small habit that feels easy. Maybe drink more water. Maybe cook one meal at home this week. Or maybe eat one piece of fruit every day. When that habit becomes normal, add another one. Small steps can lead to big changes.
I love that advice. Mine would be very similar. I would tell people to enjoy the process. Don't think of healthy eating as a punishment, think of it as a way to take care of yourself while still enjoying the foods you love in moderation.
That's such a positive way to look at it. When we enjoy the journey, it becomes much easier to continue.
Absolutely. And before we say goodbye, if you enjoyed listening to our conversation today, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who is learning English. It really helps us create more conversations like this one.
And if you're practicing your English with us, thank you so much for spending your time here. Keep listening, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every conversation helps you become more confident.
Well, honey, I really enjoyed today's conversation. It felt like we were simply sitting together, having a cup of tea, and talking about everyday life.
I enjoyed it too, Nano. These are my favorite kinds of conversations because they're simple, honest, and easy for everyone to follow.
I hope everyone listening learned a few new English words and also found some useful ideas about healthy eating.
And remember, you don't have to change everything today. Just choose one small, healthy habit and keep doing it. That's more than enough to get started.
Thank you everyone for listening.
We really appreciate your support, and we can't wait to talk with you again in our next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day.